Hello! So, I have decided to do another video concept that I'm borrowing from another booktuber. I did get permission on Instagram, and it is Books and Kayla's Reading a Book for Every Year I've Been Alive challenge. Now, I went through all of my 5 stars, and I will put the graphic on the screen. But essentially, the first year that I need one for is 1995, which is the year I was born. And since July is my birthday month, I was born in July 1995, I figured what better month to start the challenge for the year I was born than this one. Now, mine isn't going to be nearly as detailed and complex as Kayla's, because she went into like the baby photos and all of that. I am not doing that. I'm not putting that on the internet. Yeah, I will link Kayla's video down below because she's probably going to be doing it a lot better than I am. But yeah, I actually have 3 books I already own on my TBR shelf. So yeah, that were published in 1995. I have The Lost World, which is a sequel to Jurassic Park. I have Rose Madder by Stephen King, and I have Wicked by Gregory Maguire. Now, I have given Stephen King 5 stars in the past. I think I gave the first Jurassic Park a 4-star because there were characters in it that really annoyed me. Out of the 3 options, I think Wicked is the one that I'm most likely going to give a 5-star. But yeah, I figured I might as well start. Before I get into researching more about what came out, I thought I would start with the 3 I own and see if any of these are a 5-star. Because then I won't need to purchase any others. Out of the 3 that I'm holding, I think the one that I'm, like I said, the one that I'm most like... Yeah. Stupid microphone. That'll do. Like I said, the one that I'm most likely to... I think the one that I'm most likely to give 5 stars, if I was to give any of these 5 stars, would be Wicked by Gregory Maguire. I think the one that I'd be least likely to give 5 stars is probably The Lost World. Mainly because Stephen King is like so hit and miss for me. There's been ones that I've really loved and then ones that I haven't. So yeah. I'll work out which one of these I'm going to read first when I get to them. But yeah, these are the 3 that I'm going to do to start this book. This video will end when I find a 5-star challenge. Hello. So it is officially the 1st of July, and ignore the giant flame by my face. We have a windstorm and it's blown my power out, so I'm going to get the light on my face through candle. Currently doing everything by candle and flashlight. So anyway, hold on. It's really hard to do that stuff one-handed. Okay, and yeah, so the point of me turning on this camera was I am going to start my first book for this 5-star book for every year I've been born with The Lost World by Michael Crichton. I'm going to go as close as I can without actually setting the book on fire. But yeah, The Lost World by Michael Crichton. Yeah, so this is the first one that was on my shelves that was written in 1995. So yeah, I'm going to read this and I will let you know what I think. I probably won't, if the power's not back tonight, I probably won't fill you in again because it's going to be really awkward to do all of this by candlelight and flashlight. So yeah, I will catch you guys probably when the power's back or when it's daytime and there's sun. Bye. Hi. So it is a couple of days later since I did the introduction of this book without power. It turns out that power knockout we then had was the start of a cyclone coming through, so I didn't pick up the camera at all the rest of that day or the day after, and I didn't read much either. But I am now 111 pages in. Like, the cyclone was one of the main reasons I didn't check in, but also, it's page 111, and they're only just going to Jurassic Park. So, yeah, nothing really happened for that first 100 pages, and there was a lot of character building, and yeah, we're now just getting to the Jurassic Park moment. But yeah, I know why the character building was necessary, but I just feel like it dragged that bit. So yeah, hopefully it'll pick up now, because right now it's sitting at a 3-star because it's just kind of dull. But yeah, I will check in with you guys once I've read some more, or once I have something, either once I finish the book or once something interesting happens. I don't know which is which, but yeah, if there's nothing to really note in the book, I'll probably check in with you at the halfway point, which is another 100 pages, and then I'll probably just check in with you guys with my final thoughts and my ranking of this book. Like I said, unless something interesting happens and I need to talk about it. Fine. Okay, and I finished my first book for this reading challenge. I was right that this wasn't a 5-star. It's gonna be sitting at a 3.5 because it started off like really slow. Like I said in the last clip that I had, they didn't even get to Jurassic Park until about 120 pages in, and this book is 430 pages. So yeah. And even after they got to Jurassic Park, it kept flipping back and forth so much, and I just felt like I was in a science class. Like, yeah, I'm giving it 3.5 because I liked the idea of it. I just feel like the execution could have been a bit better. All right, on to the next book. Yeah, so the next book I'm going to tackle for this project is Rose Madder by Stephen King. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with Stephen King. I loved Misery and The Body, and I also loved The Green Mile. I gave all of those 5 stars. Some of them I haven't liked, like The Shawshank Redemption. I loved the movie, but the book was a little dull. I prefer the movie. And then there's The Shining and Pet Sematary. Both of those were just okay. So yeah, let's see where this one sits on my Stephen King rankings. And I'll also go into some movies let's look at some stuff that was released in 1995. So, some movies that were released in 1995 are Clueless, Jumanji, The Indian in the Cupboard, Bad Boys, Casper. Yeah, so some of my favorite movies were released in 1995. I feel like I need to watch one for this video. So I'll probably find one to watch tomorrow. One that I haven't seen, because it's all well and good watching ones that I've seen before. But if I'm going to if I'm reading all new books to find a 5-star, I might as well dig into the new movie, to me anyway. One that I haven't seen. Yeah, there's a few on here that I haven't seen that look kind of good. So I will update you on that once I've figured out what I'm going to watch. And I will also update you with my progress on Stephen King. Bye! Okay, so I figured since this book's in parts, I would check in now that I finished part 1, which is, yeah, part 2 starts on page 47. Oh god, the lighting in here is atrocious. Yeah, the lighting in here is awful. But the sun's going down, so I don't know where else I can go. Alright, we're going to deal with the atrocious lighting. What was I saying? Oh yeah, part 1. basically, I have read the prologue and part 1. Because, yeah, Stephen King, it does break his books into parts. So at least it'll be easier for me to figure out when to pop in and talk about it. Yeah, so essentially, this is the Rose Matter. From what I've got so far, the main character, Rosie, was in a... I don't know how to explain this without getting censored on YouTube. Let's just say there was a DV situation between her and her husband, and so she's now run away, and she's now run away to... I don't know if they said the name of the town. She just hopped on a bus and took off. But yeah, so the prologue opens with, like, Stephen King just jumps straight into it. Like, he does not beat around the bush, which I appreciate. A lot of them, there's a lot of build up before the, like, horror or thriller stuff happens. Yeah, Stephen King just goes straight in. Essentially, the prologue is about let's call it infant death. And her husband tells her to lie about what caused said infant death. And, yeah, so her husband is not a nice man. And And Rosie, like most people in that situation, she's terrified to leave. But a single drop of blood on a bed sheet is what triggers her to finally leave, because she knows that her husband will eventually kill her if she doesn't get away, which I do appreciate. But yeah, so the like other horror stuff hasn't happened, but this was like an internal horror thing that I felt was well done. It was only like 44 pages, the prologue and the opening. But yeah, I think it was well done about, like, describing the situation she was in. One thing that Stephen King is really good at is descriptions. Sometimes they can drag, but this is one of his shorter ones. This one's only like 500 and something pages. Yeah, this one's only like 595 pages, which for Stephen King is a good medium. There are some that are like nearly 1,000 pages long. So yeah, this one isn't that bad. It was also one of his earlier works. But, yeah, I am quite, like... I do think this is quite well written so far. I can't speak much on the horror part because that stuff hasn't happened yet. The setup was literally just her getting away from this situation. Basically, she takes her husband's credit card, she leaves... She gets some money out of the account, ditches the credit card, uses the fake name, gets on a bus, and leaves. So yeah, she doesn't... Well, she does hesitate a bit when she's getting the money out. But yeah, she does eventually find a way to leave. And that's where... I think that's where the horror, like the not domestic horror stuff is going to start. It is quite well done so far. I am only... Like I said, I am only like 40-something pages in. But yeah, it's quite well done. And yeah, I will check back in with you. I did find a movie from 1995 that I'm probably going to watch because I can get it on streaming. And that is GoldenEye, which is the James Bond film with Pierce Brosnan. And yeah, I haven't watched any of the earlier James Bond. My first experience with James Bond was Daniel Craig. So yeah, it'll be fun to go back and watch some earlier James Bond. But I will check back in with you. I'll probably either when I've read more of this or once I've watched the film, or possibly both. I will keep you updated. Bye. Alright, so yeah, we're just continuing on with the awful lighting. But yeah, I'm about to start watching GoldenEye with the Pierce Brosnan James Bond film. Both my dad and my sibling have said that they really like this film. My sibling says it's it's probably their favorite Bond film. So, yeah, I'm intrigued. And so this is going to be my movie night. I got a thing of candy, a small bag of chips, and yeah, let my movie night come in. Hello! So, I have finished Rose Madder. I think it's been 2 days since I was last on camera. I did finish watching James Bond. I thought it was just okay. I've always been iffy about James Bond films. Liked some of them, haven't liked some of them. Yeah, and this one was fine. But I did also finish Rose Madder by Stephen King. Now, this one was an interesting book. Basically, I think when I pretty much just finished reading it and didn't actually remember to come back onto camera and give you updates. But essentially, Rosie goes to this after she goes to this new town, gets away from her husband, she goes to this pawn shop and buys a painting known as Rose Madder, and decides to keep it. She doesn't even know why she liked it, but she was drawn to it, and yeah, she took it home, and that was how she did that. And then I'm not going to say everything that happened, because a lot of it was just like, I don't really need to discuss. But yeah, essentially, she gets a job doing some kind of voice recording. I couldn't quite tell if it was for audiobooks or plays or what, but yeah, she got a job in this town doing something. She eventually gets a house there, and eventually her husband tracks her down. And in the midst of this, she has started in a relationship with a man named Bill. And so she's now dealing with the fact that her husband has come back. And her husband is a creep of a character. He's basically a rogue cop. He kills everyone, and he does eventually find Rosie and Bill, but this is where the horror part comes in. Most of this was just like domestic stuff. It didn't really kick into being the horror stuff until Norman tracked her down. Basically, Norman finds this bull mask, hence the bull on the cover here, and and a lot of it, the bull takes control and like takes over for Norman. Eventually the chase leads them to going inside the painting world of Rose Madder. And so the bull mask essentially stops being a mask and becomes part of Norman's face. and he essentially ends up dying as a result of that. He's killed by this rose madder in the picture, and yeah, this is only getting a 4.5, by the way. I think it's because the ending confused me. Like, yeah, the ending kind of confused me a little bit. So yeah, I can't give it a 5 because I'm not quite sure what the ending meant. I don't know how much to talk about without while avoiding spoilers, even though this book did come out 30 years ago. I still want to be careful. But yeah, essentially Rosie ends up marrying Bill, having a child, and yeah, that bit was fine. But yeah, I just didn't understand the way that it ended. So yeah, it's going to set it a 4.5. So let's move on to so that's enough about that. Let's move on to the next book. The next book I have is Wicked by Gregory Maguire. Now, this is the last one that I have on my shelves, and I'm pretty sure this one's going to be a 5. And if not, I'm going to have to track something else down to read. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a 5. It's another long one. Like, I have read some long books in this video. But yeah, this is another, like, nearly 500-page book. But yeah, I will track back in with you guys once I've picked this up. Bye. Hi. So I am now halfway through Wicked. And ironically, I put on a green hoodie for this. But yeah, I just thought I would update you on my thoughts about it so far while I fold and sort this laundry that's next to me. Okay, so we're introduced to all the characters that are in the book were, for the most part, in the musical and the movie. You've got Elphaba, and you've got Elphaba, Glinda, Nessarose, Boq, Fiera, and of course Madame Morrible and the Wizard. Now, we jump, like, there's a lot of different timelines in this book. The introduction is, of course, Elphaba's birth. You've got, basically, it's never really clear, like, at the beginning, who Elphaba's dad actually is, because her dad was away because her mother, Malena, cheated on, like, slept with so many men that it's not really clear who it's not really clear who Elphaba's father actually is. And yeah, she's born with green skin, and yeah, they bring on Nanny to essentially help care for Elphaba. And unlike everyone else in her life, Nanny actually cares about her. And yeah, so so she's born, and then it's sort of there's sort of an ode that Elphaba is from Munchkinland. It's mentioned by Boq later in the book at Shiz University. But yeah, essentially, she's from Munchkinland, and she did grow up with Boq and his father, and so they become in the book. Elphaba has a lot more friends than she does in the musical. In the musical, Elphaba it's kind of shown that Elphaba doesn't really have any friends until Glinda, But yeah, that's not true in the book. Yeah, in the book, she befriends Bok. She does befriend Glinda later on, and she befriends Fiyero. And once Nessa Rose comes to the school, because unlike in the musical, Nessa Rose doesn't actually come to the school with Elphaba at the beginning due to the 3-year age difference. But yeah, once she gets there, they kind of have a small group going on. They've got 3 of them plus Nessa Rose and Nanny. And Nessa Rose in the book, like, was born without arms. Like, yeah, so instead of just being in a wheelchair, she doesn't have any arms. So Elphaba and Nanny have to help her a lot. Yeah, there is a whole chapter dedicated to introducing the characters. So there's a whole chapter and section introducing Glinda and introducing Bok. And yeah, I do like that Glinda does have a somewhat different kind of character development and the way she forms her friendship with Elphaba in the book. In the movie, she has regrets once Elphaba insists to Madame Morrible to do witch training, including her as well. But in the book, it kind of happens more naturally. They're roommates, and then they slowly become friends. So yeah, it happens more naturally, which I kind of like. And yeah, so yeah, it is a lot more dark the book is a lot more dark than the movie, because in the book there are actual like murders in it, as opposed to the movie and musical where obviously there aren't, because it's a happier theme. And yeah, so yeah, I'm trying to talk about my thoughts about the book without going into too many spoilers. So hopefully I haven't so far. And yeah, and Madame Morrible with the kids is a lot different, because she doesn't have the focus on Elphaba and teaching her magic and kind of just ignoring everyone else. In fact, Elphaba isn't the one drawn to magic in this book. In the book, Glinda is. Yeah, Glinda is. So, yeah, Elphaba doesn't want anything to do with magic. She just wants to help the animals and the earth. So yeah, eventually, the bit that I just finished on is they've all just gotten to Emerald City to see the wizard, and that ends with Elphaba refusing to go back to Shiz. She refuses to go back to Madame Morrible school, and so her and Glinda part on kind of sad terms, actually, because Glinda just watches Elphaba walk away as she is driven off in a cab. Yeah, so I really do love the friendship dynamic between Elphaba and Glinda. I loved it in the musical. I like the way that it's done in the book too. Yeah, so that's kind of where I got up to in the book. And yeah, so I am really liking it so far. I'm pretty sure it is gonna be a 5-star, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, so that's my thoughts about Wicked so far, and I will probably keep reading tomorrow. I'm kind of done with reading tonight. I just want to relax for the night and just watch some TV. But yeah, I will keep you posted. I will probably check in tomorrow because I'm halfway through, so I'll probably be finished either tomorrow or Friday. And I will catch you guys then. Bye. Hello. So, yes, we're at the same angle, but I have finished Wicked, and I am giving this 5 stars. So, I'm wrapping this vlog up here with this book, with Wicked. This book took a very interesting turn for the second half. I think when I updated you last, she was just going to Emerald City. But yeah, this book, completely different from the musical. And I do love them both because this was a whole different take on it, but I still really enjoyed it. Basically, in Emerald, she's basically abandoned everyone. She's abandoned Glinda, she's abandoned Boq, she's abandoned her sister. And the one person who finds her in Emerald City is Fiero. Yeah, and they end up just bonding with each other. Fiero becomes the only person that she still talks to by the end of, like, yeah, by this point, he's the only one she still talks to. And I can't really condone the relationship with this because Fiero is married when he starts this relationship with Elphaba. I liked him in the movie because he was single at the time. But yeah, in the book, Fiero essentially cheats on his wife with Elphaba. And yeah, I do like him as a character, but yeah, I couldn't get on board with their relationship in this. But yeah, this has a lot of like religious undertones in a way, because yeah, a lot of these were like Elphaba at like a church or in a nunnery, and yeah, there is a lot of religious undertones. There's also like 2 more deaths because Fiero eventually. Yeah, I don't really want to. Again, I don't really know what spoilers I can go into, and what I can't. But yeah, the way that they approached the aftermath of one of the characters' death and Elphaba is quite well done, and I actually liked the way that the story did Dorothy and Elphaba, like meeting and interacting. Basically, the whole Dorothy killing Elphaba is an accident. So, yeah, she doesn't want to kill her, and Elphaba just wants the slippers back. So yeah, that becomes a whole thing. And yeah, I did really enjoy this. It's getting 5 stars, and I guess that wraps up this video. And I will see you guys in whatever I do next. Bye!